Homefront Operations. Did you know these were a thing? I have to be honest, I didn't have a clue that these existed until today when I was browsing through the opportunities window. Naturally, my curiosity got the better of me, and I wanted to give them a go. I decided to ask around to see if anyone can give me a little more information on what exactly a Homefront operation is.
Do you know what a Homefront operation is?
Nah, mate, never heard of it.
Hey Siri, what's a Homefront operation?
Sorry, I can't help with that.
Babe, what's a Homefront operation?
Is that a government thing?
Yeah man, it's kind of like a dungeon in other MMOs.
Dungeons, you say? Well, that sounds pretty casual to me. My name is Juds, and today I'm being absolutely blown away by Homefront Operations. I guess this would normally be the part of the video where I start googling what are Homefront Operations and how do I run them. Only this time I decided I should add a bit more of a challenge to the video. I'm going to gather up a couple of friends and run them the old-fashioned way by working out which ships we need to complete each site and how we should fit them. We're not running anything blingy, so all fits should be relatively affordable. I can leave fits in the comments if anybody wants them, but I would highly suggest having a Google instead, as our ships were far from meta. And with that, I invited our motley crew to the fleet, and we made our way to Dodixie to begin our adventure. Before we began, we had a discussion around which site would be a good one to start with.
I see one in Aguilera area and Athenard.
Sorry, in where?
As we decided earlier that we couldn't use any outside resources to help us complete these sites, we decided it didn't really make much difference what we picked, as long as it was a site that recommended 3 ships. So we decided to start with a site known as Traffic Stop. Now, Traffic Stop had me feeling like we were working at customs or something. In order to complete the site, we had to work together, scanning down Galent haulers as they warp in search of contraband, all whilst fighting off a series of frigates and destroyers that arrived in waves. The twist here is that if 5 haulers with contraband manage to get past us and dock, or if we kill 3 innocent ships by accident, then the objective will fail. Oh, and did I mention that we had to keep this up for a whole 10 minutes? If we did find contraband in a hauler, then we had to get enough webs on the offending ship to slow it down just enough for us to blow it up before it reaches the station. So how did our first attempt go, I hear you ask? Well, it started a bit like this.
Leroy?
Jenkins!
And ended like this.
The data has been rewritten. This site is not salvageable.
Did we lose?
So what happened? Well, it turns out there's actually quite a lot of multitasking required to run these sites, and our smooth brains weren't quite ready for it. We were being overwhelmed by the frigates and destroyers, we were scanning ships that had already been scanned, we were a disorganised mess. And rightly so, we failed. But that wasn't going to stop us. We regrouped, found another traffic stop, and talked through our game plan.
Just hold it, kill the frigates, then kill the Iterran. I could be wrong about this.
Whilst I don't think we got it completely right, we were close enough and far more organised than we were the first time. We were focusing on finding the contraband quickly, tagging the haulers we'd already scanned, and annihilating the frigates and destroyers once everything was given the all clear. This time, we were organised, and it paid off with a smooth run. The mission was a success, to the tune of 9 mil into each of our wallets. Not a bad amount for 10 minutes work in high sec. With that, we returned to Dodixie with our wallets fatter and our heads held high to decide which challenge we were going to face next. When we docked back up in Dodixie, we all opened our opportunities window and got to work deciding on which site we liked the sound of next. We decided Stabilize Rift would be our next challenge to conquer. Stabilize Rift sounded simple on the surface. There are 5 destabilizing arrays trying to close a rift that the powers that be would supposedly like kept open. It was our job to reduce the capacitor of each of the destabilizing arrays to less than 20% simultaneously. This means that the capacitor of each array had to be less than 20% at the same time. And as before, there was a twist. These arrays slowly regenerate cap, and there are sleepers roaming around trying to ruin your day. After much debate on the best ship for the job, yes, crewer, we know you're the best ship for this, but you're expensive, so shh. We decided we would each bring a Dragoon, kitted out with triple newts, a cap booster, a bit of tank, and a micro warp drive, just in case we needed to move around quickly between arrays. We undocked and made our way to the site. Upon landing, we let out our usual war cry,
Leroy Jenkins!
I was facing the wrong way. That was the worst Leroy of my
Oh, you
life.
were the worst Leroy.
and jumped in. we each made our way over to a separate array and began nooting. A few minutes went by and we thought we were making good progress, until we realised just how unprepared we actually were. The sleepers were killing off our drones left, right and centre, and we had only brought a single flight of hobgoblins each. We weren't spread out correctly to cover all the arrays, and worst of all, we didn't bring nearly enough cap charges to carry us through to the end. It was looking more and more like we weren't going to make it, so we made a mutual decision to cut it short, head back to Dodixie, and rethink our fits and our game plan. En route home, Lewis asserted his dominance over the group and simulated the perfect cap-stable Dragoon. And I have to say, it was beautiful. With that, we undocked once again, found another site once again, and ignored the warning about getting a criminal timer once again. And then, wait, what was that last bit?
Oh my god, they're attacking me. They're attacking me!
Yep, we walked in on someone else's site, and they weren't best pleased about it. Thankfully, we all got out safe and sound and went to find another site without any other inhabitants. Upon landing at the entrance, we once again went over the game plan. This time, we were going to tag each of the arrays so we could easily identify which ones needed help. We would also spread ourselves perfectly so we had all arrays covered at all times. In a similar fashion to the last site, organising ourselves properly and actually working together is what saved the day. This site was an absolute breeze with a proper setup and a little bit of communication between us. We walked away with another 9 mil in our pockets, but a total of 18 mil earned just wasn't enough to leave me satisfied. Our next, though not quite final site, was called Salvage Research. This mission sounded pretty straightforward. There are 18 wrecks in the site that you need to salvage, whilst trying not to die to enemy ships of course. Sounds easy, right? Well, apparently not for us.
It's like,
We don't have salvaging level 1. What?
come on, man.
Now, I don't want to single anyone out, Kyle, but not all of us had the skills to even equip a salvager. This wasn't too much of a problem though, as it was only a quick 10-minute train. So, 10 minutes later, we all jumped into our now seemingly overworked Dragoons and headed out to the mission site and jumped in, full of enthusiasm.
Leave Tina alone. Leroy Jenkins! There we go, I kind of Jenkins as we went.
This is where we realised our next rookie error. It turns out the wrecks were too difficult for any of us to actually salvage. We danced around for a few minutes shooting stuff just to make sure we weren't doing something wrong, but eventually I decided to walk back, change out my rigs to salvage tackle rigs, and came back as fast as I could. It did in fact work, and I was now able to salvage the wrecks, but as hard as I tried, I couldn't get to the last few wrecks before the timer ran out. And, well, we may have failed, but we now had all the experience we needed to tackle the site again. We found another, jumped in, and absolutely smashed it out the park. Lewis and Kyle were killing everything in sight, and I took my sweet time going from wreck to wreck salvaging. The site was finished in less than 10 minutes without any real challenge, which is great, but we couldn't finish our evening without really challenging ourselves, could we? We decided to try Suspicious Signal Stop the Siphon. This mission recommends 4 to 5 pilots in the site and allows everything up to cruiser hulls as long as it's factional T1. To succeed, you have to hack a number of arrays to allow you to damage and destroy a siphoner. Now, I would love to tell you that we overcame this mission through teamwork and determination, but I won't lie to you, we didn't stand a chance.
Okay,
10 minutes.
yeah, so we need to rethink this.
Why?
They reboot.
So we have to do them all at the same time?
Well, within about 1 minute 30 of each other by the looks of it.
I definitely think we'll come back soon with a 4th pilot and maybe do a little research before trying these sites again. Leave a comment below if you'd like to see more Homefront Operations content. I have to say, we had an absolute blast trying to work out all of the different mechanics involved, and I'm honestly gutted that there isn't more of a limelight on these sites. Whether you're a new player in an alpha clone or a bitter vet, I honestly believe there is barrels of fun to be had in Homefront Operations, no matter who you are. Grab your friend, grab your nan, grab your nan's friend, grab whoever, and go give them a go. And with that, remember to like and subscribe, or I'll warp into your Homefront Operations site and make you feel a little on edge.
You want in Agrillary area and Athenard.
Sorry, in where?
Agrillary area.
It's my favourite system.